Sada Shiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome you all with my love and respects. Let me start with the story of the Shiva Sutra. We were actually contemplating to present some traditional scripture in its authentic, true original form. I was thinking whether it should be Upanishad, or it should be Gita, or it should be Yoga Sutra, or it should be Ashtavakra Gita, or Brahma Sutra. So many scriptures we have. When I went through, practically every scripture had the parts which are original truths, pure truths, and the parts which are added for the sake of society to make it more understandable. The third part, compromising for the sake of the people who are not able to imbibe it. Every book has these three parts. One, the pure truth, as it should be told, as it should be said. The next, for the sake of society. Maybe the way in which they wanted to listen, explaining in that way. And the next, completely compromising. Sometime you will see masters do compromise for the sake of the disciples. A small story. Once one person goes to Ramana Maharshi and asks, Bhagavan, please give me some technique to achieve enlightenment. Ramana Maharshi says, just sit and see who is the person who wants to achieve enlightenment. Start seeking the source of the I in you. After 1 year, the devotee comes back and says, I think self-enquiry is too difficult for me, Bhagavan. Can I do meditation? Bhagavan says, all right. After 1 year, the same guy comes back and says, I think meditation is too difficult for me, Bhagavan. Can I do japa? Bhagavan says, all right, do it. Really, again he comes back and says, japa is also very difficult for me. Can I do puja? Bhagavan says, all right, do puja. During the last meeting, there was a devotee who was taking notes of the teachings of Ramana Maharshi. What he will record? He will say, Bhagavan asked one devotee to do puja. So naturally, if he records and presents teachings of Ramana Maharshi, means Ramana Maharshi told disciples to do puja. No. He accepted, but that is not his message. Any scripture, some part truth and some part which is accepted, but that is not the ultimate truth. And the other part, compromising. Because of the deep doubts of Arjuna, even Krishna has to compromise in few places. In few places, even Krishna has to compromise. Because Arjuna is asking again and again the same question. Same question. If you see, the questions which Arjuna is asking, only the words are changed, but the doubt is same. Doubt remains the same. For example, you go to an enlightened person and ask, how an enlightened person will behave, how an enlightened person will live, please tell me. If you have not lived around him and you are asking this question, perfectly all right. Means you want to know. You lived around him for 10 years and then you ask him how an enlightened master will behave, means you are trying to judge. Arjuna lived around Krishna 33 years. They were close friends, college mates actually. Both of them studied in same Gurukul. Now he is asking, tell me, how a Jivan Mukta, Sthita Prajna will be. It means what? Now he is going to refer whether Krishna has achieved that state or not. He heard all the teachings from the Krishna. He wants authority. Whether these teachings should be followed or not. A new person, somebody who comes today, if he asks me, how an enlightened person will behave, please tell me. It's perfectly all right. He's a new person, he is asking. But a disciple who lived around me 10 years, suddenly he is asking me one day, how an enlightened person will behave, please tell me, Swamiji. What it means? He is trying to corner me with my own words. Whatever word I utter, he can corner me. If I say enlightened person will be silent, he can corner me. If I say enlightened person will be speaking, he can corner me. Whatever scale you give, he can be cornered. So Krishna has to play with words. When you play with words, you have to compromise. Logic is too poor to express the truth. Sometimes, when you give the authority to logic, the truth is lost. In every scripture, I saw all three parts. Understand? The truth as it should be told. When it is said, it is part of the Brahmana part. When the truth is adjusted a little bit for the sake of creating greed in the reader's mind, it is the part of Vaishya. If the truth is compromised because of the fear of unacceptance, it is the Kshatriya part. Every book, the unnecessary words are Shudra part. Every book had all these three parts: Brahmana part, Kshatriya part, Vaishya part, and Sudra part. I can tell you honestly, at least from my experience, Shiva Sutras is the only book which does not have anything else except Brahmana part. There is no Vaishya, Kshatriya or Shudra parts in the scripture. There is no compromising because of fear, because of greed, because are unnecessary words. Shudra part means adding the words which is not directly required. That happens if the person who is teaching is not fully enlightened or if he is not in the high state of consciousness. Next, Kshatriya part means compromising out of fear of non-acceptance. See, in the first chapter, Krishna says beautifully, the first sutra, not first chapter, first sutra. He starts speaking only in the second chapter. In first sutra he says, do this, this is what is right. But this poor guy, Arjuna, is not able to grasp. So he has to go on and on and on, and it is really passions of Krishna, nothing else but passions of Krishna. After 30 years of living together, Krishna has to verbally say, I am God, listen to me. It's a disrespect to Krishna. Arjuna has lived around Krishna 30 years, and after 30 years of living together, Krishna has to tell boldly, Sarvadharman paridyajya, mamyegam saranam vraja, aham tva sarvabhabhebhyo moksha ikshyami masuchaha. Means, he is telling Drop everything, surrender unto me, I will show you the path, living after 30 years together. In the first, even this words he is not able to tell in the first chapter. He has to tell in the last 18th chapter after giving Vishwarupa Darshana. Means after giving a solid experience to Arjuna, only then he has to declare this truth. Means throughout the Gita there was the layer of fear. Shudra part gets added into scriptures if the teacher is not in the high enlightened consciousness. Kshatriya part gets added into scripture if the disciple, listener is not prepared or devoted. Arjuna had only the attitude of friend, not the disciple. Sakabhava. Sakabhava means democracy. The truth cannot be shared with the mental setup of equality. Sakabhava is beautiful to start the relationship. But with the Sakabhava, never the ultimate things can be transmitted. Krishna was more a friend. That is why he repents. After the Vishwarupa Darshana, after the cosmic vision of Krishna, Arjuna says, "Oh God, whom did I call you by the first name, by the community name?" He says, "Hey Krishna, hey Yatama, hey Saketi. I called you as my buddy. I called you by your community name. I called you by your first name. Oh, now I understand who you are." Means till the Vishwarupa Darshana, till the 11th chapter, the person who is receiving is not prepared. So Krishna has to compromise and add lot of Kshatriya part in it. Of course, the Vaishya part, greed, that is added to popularize the scripture, to make that scripture alive. That is what is Palashruti. Means all the benefits you will receive by reciting this book or repeating this book. That is Vaishya part. Every Sahasranama will have a Palashruti. Every Sahasranama will have Palashruti, means the benefits you will get. Every mantra, every chant will have, if you chant this, you will have all this. You will have this, you will have that. Of course, without Palashruti, things will not become popular. Without the result or without you touching the greed, things will not become popular. In every scripture, I have seen all these 4 parts. Of course, one nice thing with Shiva Sutra, with Bhagavad Gita, with Brahma Sutra, the scriptures which came from enlightened masters, there won't be Shudra part. The 4th part will not be there because they are in the high state of consciousness. Let me now clearly explain it. Shudra part gets added if the master himself, if the teacher himself is not in the high state of consciousness. Kshatriya parts gets added if the listener, the direct disciple, is not ready, prepared, devoted, deeply to receive. Vaishya part gets added if the society is not ready to receive. Here, fortunately, with the Shiva Sutras, Devi is completely ripe. She is already enlightened. It is conversation between 2 enlightened beings. She is completely in tune, completely surrendered. She is completely one with the Shiva. That's the only word I can use. One with Shiva. So, the person who is talking is in the high consciousness. The person who is listening is in the high consciousness. Because both of them are in the same state, they did not bother about the society. Because Shiva was in high state of consciousness, Shudra part did not get added. Because Devi was in high consciousness, Kshatriya part did not get added. Because both of them did not bother about the society, Vaishya part did not get added. This book remained as a pure Brahmana scripture, the pure science of enlightenment, without any addition, without any unnecessary line. With no other scripture, we can give the guarantee you can follow every line, there won't be any disturbance, mistake, or any problem. But with this scripture, we can even say legally. Every line is so complete, so full. You don't have to bother about the context. See, in Gita, there is one line. Even the Vaishyas, women and lower caste people achieve enlightenment by meditating on me, Krishna says. But you should understand, only in the context it should be understood. If you directly start giving the meaning, you can ask, what do you mean by this word? Do you mean that women are less? Or Vaishyas are less? No. In those days, that was the idea. So he is addressing, he is explaining. So you need to understand those words with the context. But with Shiva Sutra, you don't have to bother about anything. Every single line can be directly understood, practiced, straight away in this modern context. There is no extra line. There is no ideas which you have to understand only in the context. See, the moment there are some lines you need to understand only based on the context, you need a commentator, Bhashyakara. This is the scripture which does not need commentator. That is why it is never commented. Nobody gave commentary on this. Very few. On Bhagavad Gita, there are 6,000 commentaries available now. 6,000 commentaries. Anybody who is supposed to become an Acharya has to write a Bhashya, commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Then understand. Fortunately, Krishna was not there to see all the commentaries. Now, when I see my teachers teaching the classes, I remember. But unfortunately, I have to listen and see what they are teaching. I think the smile conveyed everything. The commentators, the need of the commentator reduce the validity of the scripture, the authenticity of the scripture. A scripture should be such, at any point, anybody should be able to pick up that book, read and experience it. Only then that book can be called as a complete manual, without any commentator or interpreter. The moment you accept the necessity of the commentator or interpreter, the scripture will not be in its pure form. The scripture will lose its pure form. Here, Shiva has made such a wonderful book. No need for any commentator. Please understand, I am not commenting, I am just repeating in English, that's all. I am not commenting, I am not adding, I am not removing, I am just presenting, because it is presented in Sanskrit. It has to be presented in the modern language, English. I am just putting it in a different language, that's all. This book does not need commentary. There was a beautiful story in one of the disciples of Ramakrishna. One Swami was commenting on Ramakrishna's teachings. Without knowing, Ramakrishna's direct disciple is sitting in that hall. After he finished the commentary, he came to know that there is a direct disciple of Ramakrishna sitting in the hall. He called and asked, "How do you feel?" He said, "I understand the original words, but not the commentary." Sometimes, bhashyas, the commentaries, instead of explaining or elaborating the truth, they just miss. This is the book which has no Brahmana, which has no Vaishya, Kshatriya and Shudra part, which is pure the Brahman science, the science of enlightenment, that's all. Shiva did not compromise because Devi was in tune. Because both of them were in tune, they did not bother about the society. When you are in deeply love with somebody, you will not bother about society. You will not even remember the society exists. That is why the people who are in love, they think they are the world. There is nothing else. There is nothing else. They are completely feeling fulfilled by each other. They don't need to remember something else. They are filled. So both of them are in the fulfilled state. They did not bother about society. So Vaishya part did not get added. This book does not have Palashruti, means this book does not say what you will get by doing these meditation techniques or what you will get by reading these lines. No. No Palashruti. He just says, do all this and see for yourself. That's all. He is so clear about what he is teaching. He does not promise any words. He straight away promises the experience. He just says, do it and see. Purest enlightenment science, purest form of enlightenment science in 112 sutras. Today we will enter into few sutras. Let me read the sutra, then we will try to understand. I am giving you only the English translation. Blessed one, as senses are absorbed in the heart, reach the center of the lotus. Such a simple one-liner, but can straight away lead you to the enlightenment experience. Let me describe what is exactly I mean by the word enlightenment. Ramakrishna says beautifully, whenever I try to explain exactly what is enlightenment, I am blocked. Of course, that is the truth. Maybe I can try to give one point of understanding. There will not be any movement of letter or word or a thought between your navel and the throat. The words will come only from the throat. I can say this is one of the precise description of enlightenment. There will not be any word or thought or syllable or sound movement between the navel and the throat. Means only when you are talking the words will be coming. When you are not talking, there will not be any words inside. Only the energy movements. only the energy movements. Means there is no thought, there is no verbalization, there will not be any continuous inner chattering. Your inner chattering is the only thing which disturbs your whole life. Very difficult for a normal person to understand. They will always think, no, unless I have inner chattering, how will I plan my everyday life? How will I be able to run my business? How will I be able to live? Understand, when you don't have inner chattering, I don't say it is a dead silence. It is an intense energy. Whatever needs to be done comes out as a full, complete visualization. For example, what you need to do tomorrow, if you have the inner chattering, it will come line by line. Morning I will have to get up. Then I will have to go to my office. Then I will be doing this work. Then evening I will come back. Then I may have this program, that program. Like a linear way, one by one it comes out. When you don't have inner chattering, just you are with yourself, the whole visualization comes out as a one statement or one information. That is what we call intuition. When you go through the logical process, it is called inner chattering. It is intellect. But when you don't have that inner chattering, things starts expressing in you intuitively. Straight away you know. If you have the tomorrow routine, if it gets downloaded into your system, you know clearly. First, next, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, everything will be presented to you straight away. I don't know whether I conveyed it completely. I am trying. You can try to understand how without verbalization enlightened beings are working. If you had the fortune of living around some enlightened being, of course, very difficult. It is very difficult because one visualization which comes to me has to be translated into action, means at least 200 verbalization, verbal instruction has to be delivered. It is very difficult for the disciples to grasp. That is why there is constant fight between me and my disciples. From morning I come out of my room till I go back to my room. No, sorry, till I sleep, because I'll be in the chat also. It is a constant struggle between me and my disciples. Impossible, because constantly it comes out as a full visualization. But a person who stays in the verbalization, very difficult to grasp. All you need is even a few moments. If you decide consciously and relax from the verbalization, to tell you honestly, you need nothing else except the clear decision. It is time. Surely there is something more than whatever verbalization gave to my life. See, your property, your name and fame, your position, everything was gift to you by your verbalization. The thinking which you had, that only gifted everything to you. So you have a deep gratitude for verbalization. Apart from gratitude, the utility value, you know this is paying and going to pay. Continuously it is going to add more and more. The utility value is there. All you need is a clarity. Really there is something beyond verbalization and I want it. This clarity is more than enough. This conscious decision is more than enough. One more thing, I am not asking you to drop the verbalization whole day. The moment I say that, you will be frightened. Then I have to add Kshatriya part. Kshatriya part to the scriptures. No. All I am asking, even if you can drop for few minutes before starting to the office, I'll sit and few minutes I'll decide no inner chattering. Understand, you do not know the power of your intention. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, I also decide no inner chattering, but that word itself is one more inner chattering. How can I remove the inner chatterings? Understand, mind can kill the mind. Mind can kill the mind. You can commit suicide. Not physically, I am saying mentally. If somebody asks, no, I am having life, any idea, thought which I am having in the life, how can it lead to death? It can. Your mind may be having life now. Don't think it can't lead you to the mindlessness. It can lead you to mindlessness. The conscious decision not to have inner chattering, at least for a few moments, will add so much energy into your being. It's as on now your mind is like a hall filled with furnitures. Can you say, oh, whole hall is filled with furnitures? How can this hall become empty? No. It can become empty if you start removing one by one. The conscious decision to have the mindless state is like removing the furniture one by one. Just few moments per day, if you can decide consciously and sit, maybe for 1 month decide it as a routine. After that you don't need to do it as a routine. After that you will see the very taste calls you back. The very taste calls you back. After 1 month drinking, you don't need to decide you need to drink. The very taste will call you back. Just few moments, decide very consciously, no words between navel and throat. That is the area the words will be moving when you are not talking. From Manipuraga chakra to Vishuddhi chakra, that is the area the words will be constantly moving. Even when it is not needed. Things which you are doing when it is not needed tires you, and you will not have energy to do things which is needed to do, which you need to do, which is needed. The constant inner chattering will tire you. Do not ever think or believe because of your inner chattering only you are able to do your business, run life, live your life with the luxury and comfort. No. In spite of your inner chattering, you are living comfortably. Not because of your inner chattering. Sometime rarely, those inner chattering would have given you little way out of compassion. You would have had 1 or 2 strong visualizations, intuition. Only those decisions which you made out of intuitions will be responsible now for your wealth, for your comfort, for your luxury, for your happiness in the life. You can just look back and see the major successful decisions. When those things happened in you, you might have been in a high mood, or the mood in which there was no thoughts. Only those decisions bring joy, peace and bliss. Understand, enlightenment means not having any letter, word, sound, vibration between navel and Vishuddhi. That's all. Here Mahadeva is giving a straight technique to achieve this state. There is so many other descriptions about enlightenment. Here I am giving you the description or understanding through which directly you can enter into this technique. Mahadeva says, blessed one, as senses are absorbed in the heart, reach the center of the lotus. He says, as senses are absorbed in the heart, reach the center of the lotus. This is the technique for the people who are living intensely with the senses. I want all of you to understand, we are not living with senses, we are living with mind. Let me tell you how to find out whether we are living with senses or mind. For example, about some ecstasy or experience or joy, if you have your fantasy and visualization, maybe about drinking or smoking or a physical pleasure or lust or some food, if you have a fantasy that this is going to be like this, when you really enjoy, if it was more than the fantasy, you are living with senses. When you are really enjoying, if that experience is less than the fantasy, what you fantasized, you are living in the mind. Fantasy is mind, experience is senses. You yourself can find out whether you are living in the mind or in the senses. If you are living in the senses, enlightenment is easy for you. We are not living in the senses, means we are not living naturally, because so much of advertisements, ads for the food makes your fantasy about food too big and experience as too small. So much of pornography makes your fantasy about lust too big and experience as too small. Your lost connection with the senses. You are living in the mind, cerebral layer. Our life is now centered in cerebral layer. Person who is centered on the senses, the enlightenment or experiencing the reality, truth, is lot more easy. Let me tell you a small story. It's not even a story, it's actually happened, the truth. One priest who was working in a very famous Shiva temple in South India is not supposed to have non-veg, at least during puja days. He had non-veg and public saw it. And I was attending that program, the program which he is supposed to conduct. So the public who saw it came and complained to me, said that you should not allow him to conduct that program, because I was supposed to be the decision-making authority in that place. Who will do the first ritual and who will do the second ritual and all those things. They invited me as a guest. I called that priest and asked for explanation. Why did it happen? Usually, during the ceremony days, they have to restrain from non-veg food and all that. They have to keep up all the traditions. Of course, completely avoiding is supposed to be the pure tradition. At least during ceremony, it's a basic necessity. He said, he quoted a story. There was a story, the traditional literature, the Kannappa, story of a hunter, Kannappa. He was a great devotee of Shiva. Not only he used to eat meat, and he will offer the meat to Shiva. He said, when Kannappa's puja and all is accepted, why not my puja? I think I'll have to explain the story of the Kannappa. Only then you'll be able to understand. Only then the point which I am trying to convey, the person of senses and person of the mind, we will be able to understand. There was a great hunter in a forest who lived a complete real physical life. Blessed are those who are living in a place where there is no TV. Blessed are those who are living in a place where there is no fantasy added into their system. I am not blaming the communication system or television. It is good. Because of that only we will come to know whether there is going to be tsunami or whether there is going to be fire, and so many beautiful utility things are there. But when the consumeristic society, consumeristic ideas, especially the corporate world, when it takes over to market their products, the communication system is used to mix poison into the society. It is equivalent to mass poisoning. So much of advertisement for food is naturally nothing but mass poisoning. If you travel in the highways of India, the moment you see the temple tower, you will know there is going to be a village coming. There is a small village. In the Western countries, if you travel, if you see the McDonald's tower, you know there is a county. So much of ad, so much of publicity for food is not required. And after all, everybody, the moment they feel the hunger, they are going to eat. Why should it be marketed so much? Then naturally, the idea to eat comes inside the system again and again. I am talking only about the food, but there are so many things. This guy was fortunate. He lived in forest, so no fantasy was added to your system. He was living purely in senses. He was completely centered on senses. If he smiles, he really is happy. Understand? Understand, please understand. Just sit and analyze how many times per day you smile and how many times really you smiled out of happiness. And how many times out of the social courtesy. When he smiles, he is really happy. When he is angry, he will be really angry. Because he lives on the senses. He does not calculate. See, before you express your anger, you actually go through a full budget. How much it is going to cost, what you are going to gain and what you are going to lose. You go through a complete budget actually. You can see. He's a simple guy, straightforward guy. If he is angry, he is angry. If he is happy, he will be smiling. Over. There is no system of suppression. The automatic sensor does not exist in him. I am not saying you should live without automatic sensor. I am saying the being itself should be defined, not your action. The very being should go through the transformation. As of now, only your action is civilized, not the being. Civilizing the being is what is Vedic civilization, not civilizing the actions. Civilizing the action is not the civilization, pseudo. Civilizing the very being. The purpose of our gurukuls, the Vedic traditional gurukuls, are civilizing the very being. Without reducing the power of the senses, the being will be civilized. But in the so-called developed societies, the power of the sense has to be disturbed, shaken completely to make you as a civilized being. We have lost too many things, too many precious things in this so-called civilization. In this so-called civilization. He's a young man living just with senses, very simple hearted person. Traditionally, the whole family respects and devotes Shiva, devoted to Shiva. Devotees of Shiva, understand? When this kind of persons, people are devoted, they will be really devoted. When they fall flat, they really mean it. I have seen many people, before falling flat, they will hold that credit card bag. They will hold the cell phone. They will be holding the purse. When he falls flat and does namaskar, he really means it. When he touches the feet, he really means it. Many times, when people try to touch my feet, I used to get frightened. Because you don't know. They think I can't see inside. So much of vengeance and violence is inside. You don't know whether they are going to touch your feet or pull your feet. But when Kannappa falls, he really means. When he bows down, he really means. That kind of a being. For them, no need for any prana pratishtha or energizing process. The moment they see the idol, it is deity for them, it is God for them. The prana pratishtha process is needed only for the guys who are very complicated, who are very simple. For them, no prana pratishtha is needed. The moment they see the carved statue, they know it is God. Over. But ordinary mind cannot accept. No. How can just a carved statue be God? Of course, there are some extraordinary minds. Even after energizing, it is not God for them. Forget about them. Now we don't have time to talk about them. For a simple being who is living in the senses, for him, the moment there is a murti, oh yes, it is God, over. There was a small Shivalinga under a tree in the forest. He saw that Shivalinga. The moment he saw, he became devotee. He became devotee. He started taking care of that murti as he feels and do that puja every day. Maybe because his father has forced him to come and do. He must be. Anyhow, he comes and does puja as he wants or as he feels. But of course, for the priest, it is a routine. It is a routine. But for Kannappa, the hunter, it is life. For him, it is the life. Every day he takes food, water, everything and puts in front of Shiva, cleans that murti and puts some flowers, does the puja and goes back. Next day when the priest comes and sees, God, meat is in front of the deity, and that also the story says beautifully, he will kill the pig and nicely fry it, what they say, barbecue in this country. After doing all that process, he will chew and see whether it tastes nice or not. If it tastes nice, those tasty parts he will pick it up and keep it separately. Bring that and offer. Bring that and offer. The priest was shocked. It is practically disrespect to the deity. So the priest got the shock and he threw everything, cleaned everything, and it's practically like a graffiti. For him, the kids come and do some graffiti outside the walls. Same way, somebody has come and done some abusal things. Anyhow, he does his puja and goes back. Again, next day he sees the meat is in front of the deity. One day this priest thought, what is this? What is going on? Every day it is happening. After a week, it is too much. He decided to stay there behind the tree and watch who is the guy who is coming and doing all this. Who is the guy who is coming and disrespecting the deities and doing all this. He just wanted to stand and watch. He was hiding. So as usual, Kannappa came singing and dancing. He was having meat in his one hand and the other hand having all the other things needed for puja. His kind of worship. And all the flowers, forest flowers he plucked, and he did not have place to, he doesn't know how to hold. So he put all the forest flowers in his head. And how to carry water? There is no vessel. So he filled his mouth. He came straight and spit the water and Shiva and cleaned the linga with a cloth. Surely I will not allow in our temple. Of course, if I really get a Kannappa, I will allow. Wipes the Shivalinga and puts all the flowers and puts the meat. And the priest saw from behind. He just wanted to jump and fire that guy, shout at that guy. But he saw the hunter is well built and a very strong guy. He thought, I am all alone now. Better not to make any steps. Better not to mess up with this guy. He just decides to stay there. But suddenly he sees a scene, very strange scene. From the eyes of the Shivalinga, blood started coming. From the eyes of the Shivalinga, still that Shivalinga is there. There is a place called Kalahasti in Andhra Pradesh. If you travel, never miss to see that Shivalinga. In that Kalahasti temple itself, if you just go above the hill, you may have to walk some 3-4 miles. Never ever think these are stories. Understand? Never ever think these are stories. Ordinary historian, see, ordinary history is something, record of what has happened in length, breadth and depth in this 3 dimension. Purana is something, is the record of what has happened in length, breadth, depth and time and space. Understand? The Western historians cannot understand what has happened in time and space. Our masters have recorded what has happened in time and space also. So never ever think these are stories. You can go and see that Shivalinga. It's still there. And if you go near, actually you can go and even touch that Shivalinga and see, because it is not under the control of any particular priest. You can go and touch and see. The eye part is not a stone, and still I don't know what the material it is. Surely not a stone. I touched and saw that Murti. It's not stone. Anyhow, the blood started coming from the eyes, and the priest had the fear stroke, and he was completely shaken. He thought Shiva is angry with this kind of worship, with the worship which is done by Kannappa. That is why the blood is coming through the eyes. But the next scene was the real scene. Kannappa was really devoted person. He cannot tolerate the blood in his father's eyes. He ran here and there and brought some herbs and tried to do some treatment. Nothing was working. Blood continued to flow. Then they know only crude form of treatment. Eye for eye. and maybe the first eye transplantation surgery. He decided just to remove his own eyes and fix it. He just took an arrow, removed his own eyes and fixed it. Understand? A person who is living on the senses completely, only he can decide to do this strong sacrifice. Not a person who is living in the mind. He will go through a full calculation before taking any decision. No, the Shivalinga can be replaced, one more deity can be brought, but not my eyes. God is not just in this stone, you see. We can bring another one stone and install, God can be there and we can give our puja and He will accept. We have too long philosophies and scriptures to justify. God is everywhere is a beautiful truth, but not to justify your actions. Not to justify your actions. Naturally we will justify, why should we give the eyes and all, that is too much. Let's bring another deity and we can put the energy and we can do the same prana pratishtha. After all, it is going to have one more ceremony, that's all. What is there? We will do puja for that murti, over. But fortunately, he is not that intellectual. He straight away removed the eyes and put, for him, deity means God. Deity does not represent God, deity is God. Understand? There is a big difference. Deity is God and deity representing God. For most of us, it only represents God, not is. For him, is. It is not representing God, it is God. So he put his eyes. This is the ultimate shock for the priest. Not only he can't even imagine, forget about doing, he can't even imagine. At the most, he would have went and reported to his father, tomorrow onwards I don't have to go because the deity is not anymore live. He may feel relieved. Anyhow, scene is not ending here. This is not the climax. After he fixed the eyes, the blood stopped coming from one eye, the other eye, blood started coming. One eye got healed, the other eye, blood started coming. Shiva is the guy, he will test you till the end. He will corner you completely because he has to give enlightenment. To give you wealth, you don't need to be tested. All you need to be tested is, will you be able to maintain it properly and use it? That's all. So Vishnu does not have to do too much testing of you. He can straight away bless you. All right, let him have. What is there? See, to have ordinary weapons, we don't need to do the background checkup. But to give an atomic weapon, nuclear weapon, we need to have a complete background checkup about that person who is going to be responsible to handle the nuclear weapon. Enlightenment is nuclear weapon for positive use. New and clear. It is new and clear. So before sharing that, he has to see the depth. He will test you to the end. In the other eyes also the blood has started coming. Kannappa did not even think twice. He did not even think twice. He straight away decided to remove the other eye and replace it. See the surrender and dedication. Namaha means I and mine is yours. When Kannappa says Namaha, he means it. Shivaya Namaha means he says I and mine is yours. Ma means mamakara. Whatever is mine and I is yours. That's what is Namaha means. Only Kannappa is authorized to utter the word Shivaya Namaha. We have to say Shivaya minus my property Namaha minus my my eyes Namaha, minus my body Namaha, minus by all these things Namaha. When Kannappa says, he means it. When he falls flat and says Namaha, he means the body and mind is yours. Very literally. Very literally. Actually, you don't need to remove your eyes and keep and all. That's why in our Shivalinga, I did not keep any eyes. We will not have any problem. You don't have to do that. You need an intense attitude. That's enough. Nothing else is required. Attitude is enough. Shiva knows what to take from you and what not to take from you and what to give you. Just a simple attitude of Namaha. You will see. You experience the truth. Anyhow, second eye also the blood had started coming. He did not think even second time, one eye for you, one eye for me. No. No. He straight away decided to remove the second eye. He was about to take that second eye out. Then he suddenly thought, if I remove this eye also, how will I see where to fix the eye? I will become completely blind. I will not know where to put the eyes. I will not know where the Shiva's eyes are there. How to mark? Now both hands are necessary to remove this eye. But after removing the eye, I will become blind. But where will I put that eyes? How will I know where the Shiva's eyes are there? Second eyes. So he decided to mark the place of that eye by his right foot. He put his right foot on the second eye, where the blood is coming, as a mark, point mark, because he can't have any other point. After his eyes are removed, he is completely blind. How can he see where he will put the eyes? How to do the surgery? So he takes his right foot and puts it on the second eye, where the blood is coming, and removes the second eye, puts the second eye on the eyes of the Shiva exactly. Suddenly he sees one hand holding his hand and guiding. He was shocked. Who is in this forest guiding my hand? And that hand is not guiding to put that eyes on the Shiva's eyes. It is guiding, turning the eyes back to his own eyes, turning his hand back to his own eyes. And the story ends with the climax. Shiva appeared and blessed him, not only with two eyes, with the third eye also. Understand, still in all temples, when Shiva Puja is done, they will chant the mantra when they worship the eyes of the Kannappa, not eyes of the Shiva. Shiva is considered as having only 1.5 eyes, because he is Ardhanari, half goes to Devi, 1.5. In this 1.5, one belongs to Kannappa. Only he has got only half eye. The eyes are worshipped as Kannappa's eyes. He has become immortal, remembered in all Shiva temples, just because of his devotion. Just because of his devotion. Two things. Even now, our mind may not be able to receive or accept logically all these things are possible, because we are poisoned too much with the logic, and still we are made to believe logic is the totality of life. Our life can be analyzed, understood, lived just with the development of logic. That is the worst lie taught to you. Worst lie taught to you is everything can be logic. First of all, explain logically about your death. The death, greatest thing in the life, still there is no logic. Why, when, where, who, what? These questions about death still unanswered. This very clearly proves logic is too small thing to handle life. Logic is too beautiful. It is useful to handle your staff, your workers, your bank accounts, your money, your house, your infrastructure. But that is not the right tool to handle your life. Life cannot be handled by logic. We may not logically able to understand this whole incident. Understand, I am not asking you, or I am not telling you we should remove our eyes and keep it on Shivalinga, no need. But this attitude, this strength, this surrender, this mood, you will live totally in a different space. Totally in a different space. Shiva gives the name for him. You are my father who gave me eyes. That is the meaning of the word Kannappa. Kannappa means father who gave the eyes. Shiva says, you are my father who gave the eyes. Don't think you are my child, you are my father, because you gave me part of my body. Traditionally, Shiva had Kannappa as a father, another one devotee, Karikalamyar. She was considered as a mother. Two devotees of Shiva was considered as a father and mother. Even now, both of them receive Shraddha, Puja by Shiva directly. The Shraddha is done with the name of Shiva. The Gotra and Tidhi and everything. The traditional respect offered. The truth behind this story, Kannappa can do that puja because he is living with the senses completely. He is not living in the mind. But the person who is living in the mind cannot do what Kannappa did. Here, this is the technique for a person who is living in the senses, not for the person who is living in the mind. If you are living in the mind, first you have to get healed. Then start this technique. Of course, this technique is powerful enough even to heal you. That is the beauty of this technique. But till you get healed, you will not be able to experience the enlightenment or ultimate truth. But once you are healed and use this technique, straight away it can lead you to the ultimate experience, enlightenment. The person who lives like Kannappa on the senses means down to earth, very simple, very straightforward, direct. Those beings, blessed are those beings. For them, these are the techniques. You may ask, then how to heal, how to come down to senses? Shankara gives a beautiful technique to bring you down to the senses. He says, Ahara Suddhi. Sensor, whatever you are adding into your system. When I say Ahara, I do not mean just food, what you eat. No. Even TV is Ahara. Television is Ahara. Whatever you are putting through the eyes, whatever you are eating through eyes is Ahara. Whatever you are listening through ears is Ahara. Whatever you are experiencing through the hands is Ahara. Just for a month, decide you will be on diet. Not just what you eat. Whatever you swallow, everything. Whatever you swallow, everything. The other day I was reading a very strange but very funny article in a magazine related to the whole food and diet. They say people sit and eat during the TV program, watching TV and filling. And you don't know how much is put in front of the table, and the moment program is over, the table will be over. Now there is a study about this eating and watching television. They say if the program is too violent, the quantity of food goes inside is high. Because your body feels highly violent. So you swallow left and right. And you do not know what you are putting inside. Program is over, you are also over. After that there will be lunch. Anyhow, not only the food which you eat, even the ideas which we take inside, even the things which we put inside, the ahara suddhi is the best way to bring you down to the senses, bring you to the reality, to make you simple, to make you blissful, to make you down to earth. Shiva says, blessed one, as senses are absorbed in the heart, reach the center of the lotus. Actually, the original Sanskrit word is Bhagavadi. Bhagavan means blessed one. Bhagavadi means the Devi. Blessed one is a Devi. As senses are absorbed in the heart, he says, just bring yourself down to the sense level. Let you be completely centered on you. As on now, our senses are absorbed in the mind, head. He says, let your senses be absorbed in the heart. Means, do not live the life of fantasy based, live the life of reality based. Reality based life. He says, reach the center of the lotus. There is a beautiful commentary on the sutra. There is a mudra called Shambhavi mudra. Let me now describe you the exact technique, what Shiva describes here. Whatever I was talking as a diet, agara shuddhi, all these things are lifestyle changes. That is one thing. An exact technique itself, now Shiva is describing. Let me narrate that exact technique. It's called Shambhavi mudra. Shutting down completely all your senses. Means, when you close your eyes, there should not be pictures moving. When you close your mouth, there should not be tongue movement. When you close your nose, there should not be smell. You can inhale and exhale. Don't stop that. Inhaling and exhaling can be there. But where you process and realize the smell, that part of the mind should be stopped. The prana can go and come, but no question of analyzing. Oh, good onion smell. I think food is ready. This Swami is not lending. And Anna Mandir is ready. Clearly, you see, not allowing the thoughts which follows after you process and understand the smell. That is what I mean by the word stopping the senses. See, closing the eyes is very easy, but not letting things move inside your eyes, switching off the inside television is the real job. That is the real job. To tell you honestly, this whole technique, you need to practice only for 5 minutes, not more than that. After more than 5 minutes, you don't need. These are the powerful methods, can give you the glimpse of your inner space. You need a strong faith, strong understanding that there is something more than what you can see. That is the thing needed. There is some more better space or state of consciousness exists which you can experience even though you have not experienced now. That is all you need to understand. Nothing else. As of now, you have seen 3 states: deep sleep, dream and waking state. You need to understand there is something beyond these three which can be experienced, Here, Mahadeva says, enter into that Shambhavi Mudra. Means, now I am describing the technique. Please listen intensely, internalize it. Just if you can sit straight, that slow mood of an afternoon nap time, that will. Except nose, everything can be closed. Nose should not be closed because the breathing flow should be allowed. If you have any thought related, connected to any smell, if there was any smell, your mind will naturally try to analyze which smell it is. If it is an incense smell, immediately your mind will jump to the incense, and the person who sold you that incense or who was buying incense from you, or the shop name and the person who was in that shop, and then some other person, and it will just go on and on. Stop any thought flow related to the smell. Stop any thought flow related to seeing. It will be like almost like you are slowly becoming the thoughtless being or the deep silent being. Let me explain the technique, then you can start doing. Closing the eyes, ears you can close it just with the hand or even the ear plug, anything is okay. Nose should be open. Mouth not just closing, the tongue should completely lock it. That is Shambhavi Mudra. Shambhavi Mudra means closing the ears, closing the eyes, closing the mouth, not just closing, lifting the tongue and locking it. There should not be slight tongue movement. See, if there is a slight tongue movement, you will see that there is inner chattering. If there is inner chattering, the slight tongue movement will be there. You may not be talking loud, but there will be that slight movement. Now you have to block completely everything. If you have the ear plug, okay. Otherwise, just use your fingers. All the five senses should be closed. How to close the sense of touch? Just take care that you are not touching anybody, and no ornament or the cloth is really tight on your body. It should not remind you that you are wearing them. There is a beautiful description by a Devala Rishi. He gives the rules and regulations for fashion designing. The Vedic fashion designing, he gives the rules and regulations. How clothes should be. It should not remind you that you are wearing it. Beautiful descriptions he gives. How a child's clothes should be. He says the upper part and the lower part should not be separated for kids. Very powerful instructions, and very after a strong research and development. He has done so much of research and development by wearing different kinds of clothes and seeing how the mood changes. Understand, your clothes and your moods are very closely connected. Some clothes will be constantly bringing you irritation. Not some clothes, I think all clothes. And some will give you the deep feeling that you are in a relaxed space. Anyhow, now see that no cloth or your belt, anything is very strongly holding your body or making you understand that you are being touched. The clothes should be touched. The clothes should be such. You should not have the feeling you are being touched. somewhere. That is the way the clothes for meditation should be. Especially when you do this meditation. Now you may not be able to change, but when you do this meditation in the home, see that wear such clothes that you should not feel you are touched. You should not feel that you are held. So that the thoughts related to senses will be stopped. Let me describe the technique. You may try for a few minutes now, but try it in the home at least 5-6 times per day. Because initially you may not be able to do for 5 minutes at a time. You will be able to do only 1 minute or maximum 2 minutes. But you can try 5-6 times. Morning before food once, before lunch once, and before dinner once, or in between if you have few minutes, you can try. Close the eyes, close the ears, close the mouth tightly. Mouth should be closed tightly. And no tight clothes, nothing else should touch your body. Stop all the things coming through your senses inside. Just stop. No process related to eyes, related to nose, related to ears, related to mouth, related to body. Then naturally, the thoughts which you already have inside will start coming up, will start working. Yesterday what happened, day before yesterday what happened, tomorrow what should be done. These thoughts will start moving. Do not bother about it. They will not have life more than 3 kshana. Understand? Maximum 3 kshana only they will have life. Unless the information goes through your senses and process happens, the processing system cannot continue more than 3 kshana. You may be thinking, no, I can sit and visualize, imagine for 3 lives, Swamiji. No, then you must be allowing things through the senses. If you just block the senses, especially the tongue, lock it, within 3 kshana, means 3-4 thoughts only can come, maximum. 4th thought or 5th thought cannot happen. All you need is just lock the tongue, tightly close the eyes and stop the ears, but allow the breathing to happen. Just sit for a few moments. Suddenly you will see there was a space where there was no thought. After you start thinking again, you will feel, oh God, yes, there was few moments. I was there, but there was no thought. Even if you experienced the thoughtless rest for 2 seconds or 3 seconds, that will give you so much energy and you will feel that you had 8-10 hours of sleep. You will feel you had 8-10 hours of sleep. It's a very powerful, very strong method. Try 5-6 times per day. Within 5-6 days, you will catch the glimpse. You will catch it. Actually, your inner space is not so difficult to achieve. It is your inner space. We neither had technique nor had passions or inspiration to do. That's all. That is why the moment you have the knowledge about the truth, half of the work is done. The remaining half is just experiencing. Now you have manual. Let us start working. Please sit straight. And close your eyes. Close your ears. Close the eyes very tightly. There should not be any movement inside the eyes. Now just lift your tongue and lock. Do not allow any movement in your tongue. Just stop it. No movement through eyes, ears, tongue and touch. Just sit. If you lost, thoughts have started coming, try again. Just stop again and again. Try 2-3 times to stop. If it has started, if you have missed, start again and stop. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Relax. Try this in the home whenever you find time. Try it just for 2-3 minutes. All you need to do is just lock all the 5 senses and sit for a few moments, and after 2-3 minutes you yourself know, now enough, you won't be able to do anymore. After 2-3 times trying, then forget about it. Then maybe after afternoon, try once. See, you do not know. Every time when you try, the thoughts per second comes down drastically. TPS comes down drastically. First time when you try, the TPS may come down to 500. Then second time when you try, the TPS will come down to 300. Then within a week, you will see the TPS comes down around 5 to 10. The TPS comes down even around 5 to 10, you will have the glimpse of inner space. You will have that energy being released to the whole system. You will feel just live and fresh. As if you slept for 6-7 hours and you rest completely for 6-7 hours. Once you feel that freshness, be very clear, you touch the inner space. Then what you experience those few moments, try to relax in that same again and again. That's all. That's all is all about meditation. Meditation is like giving one opening and trying to be in the same space which you experienced when you had that opening. That's all. Giving the opening is called initiation. Trying to be in that same space which you experienced during initiation is sadhana. That's all. That's all is the meditation. So, try to play with this technique. Do it very playfully. Don't be too serious. Just very playfully. Per day 2-3 times try. Of course, if you try in front of your kids and spouse, they may make fun of you. What you are doing? You went to that Swami, something he taught and anyhow, try a few times a day. You will see suddenly you are able to put yourself into the high energy and the fresh mood. In 2-3 seconds, these are all beautiful weapons, tools you can have. No depression can attack you. If you have this kind of tools in your life, no depression can attack you. No worry can attack you. You will not be taken over. If you are taken over by shaking things in your life, you have a technique immediately. All you need to do is Shambhavi Mudra. That's all. Get back. These are the techniques will bring you back again and again out of depression. It will make you stand again and again on your own inner space. Blessed are those who can stand on their own inner space, who are not dependent on anything else. You will see, when you are not dependent on anything else, it's not that you will give away everything, you will not live with everything. I am not saying that. You will live without irritation. You will live with much more joyful way, relaxed way. When you sit in your sofa, you will have the mind to enjoy. When you have a new big house, you will have the joyful mood to live it. When you have the new car, you will have the blissful, exciting mood to experiment with it. But usually by the time we buy the car, we already developed the mood of 24-hour irritation. So you don't have time, you don't have the inner space to enjoy that car. By the time you make the big bed, this size, and especially in this country, queen size, the bed, you already lost the mental setup of sleeping or resting. So these methods, these techniques will give you the glimpse of inner space through which you can again and again come back, elevate yourself. Krishna says beautifully in Gita, Uttared Atmanatmanam Atmanam Avasadayet. You only have to lift yourself again and again by yourself. Whoever knows the techniques of lifting themselves by themselves, they are friends to themselves. You are the best friend to you. If you know how to lift yourself up, if you don't know how to lift yourself up, you are the worst enemy. Nobody can help you. Only you can do to yourself. So, today we will end with this sutra. Maybe from tomorrow we will have 2 or 3 sutras per day, and let you all experience these techniques, achieve and radiate the eternal bliss Nithyananda. Thank you.